Hi friends, I have the honor and pleasure of having with me rank 1 AIIMS November 2017 Dr. Archana Sasi, and I am overwhelmed by the her presence here, and I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to hear from you. Shashi, Archana, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. I'm really honored to be here.
And very relieved after getting a rank 1.
Yes, I was very happy that that I don't
Yes.
have to write again.
Yes,
I
definitely.
mean,
You don't have to write again, ever again. With the rank 1, you have all the world open to you now. So, do you want to take this a moment first to maybe thank your family members? You're telling me about your family and all. You want to thank them first?
I'm so grateful to my family members, my father, my mother for being by my side. For telling me you don't have to make it this November. It's okay. You have May. Come sit with us for a few months and then you can. But then, I'm happy that I could do it fast and now they're really proud of me. I'm so thankful to my sister. She's also a medical student right now and she is an inspiration to me too.
Yes.
So
So they were your support all the time.
they've
And I
always
am sure
been there.
family plays a very important role by giving us the support and the emotional support and the
Mm.
backup when we need.
Mm.
Yes. And you were a student of DAMS test and discussion course.
Yes.
And how was your experience with test and discussion format, like where you appear for a test and then you do a discussion? What was your experience with that format, and did you enjoy the course?
I really enjoy the course because the thing about test and discussion is it gives us that time, there's so much time you have to complete and the amount of portions to complete within that time, especially for someone who's preparing during internship. If you have a clear idea of how much to set aside for each, it's very helpful because you have only 9 months for the first entrance exam. So if you are keen on that, then TND is the way to go, and also it gives you a short capsule of all the notes in one place so that it makes it easier to go through and it's very helpful that way.
So probably it helped you by doing a time-bound testing and
Yes.
time-bound preparation and making quick notes.
Yes.
That was the crux of it.
Yes.
And any particular teachers that you remember today on this day that you, or any subjects that you were particularly impressed with, or you want to mention them here today on your victory and make them feel validated?
Okay. I really enjoyed the radiology session, sir,
That's so kind of you.
and Obs Gynae Deepti ma'am's notes are they're very. For any entrance prep, it's everything is there in such a concise form, and to even if you read through 2-3 hours, you'll cover so much of gynae that it is a really it's really good reading her notes. And then physio was brilliant. Ma'am was so conceptual. She's taken so much from Ganong. If you correlate with it, and then it's all there in one small place. So that was very helpful. So those and DVT sessions, I enjoyed the sessions of surgery, psyche, because there also it's all compressed in one place. So that was
Did you enjoy the DVT experience with us, where
yes,
we
yes.
try to go for more visual and more revision kind of thing? Yes.
In a situation like the current entrances where you have so much of images coming in and everything, having an image-based session is really helpful. It kind of puts everything in one place so that we know not just those images. When we see a set of images, we can work around those to figure out, what others they might be keen on asking. So I found it really helpful.
Okay. And did you utilize the e-learning initiatives that we have? Like we have an online testing platform where we give grant tests. Did you utilize those?
Yeah, I've done grant tests from DAMS. I've done 8 to 9 grant tests, and they give you a good idea of where you are. How much progress you need to. It keeps a track of where you need to be progressing. And the grant test videos of the solutions are also quite helpful because I found them better than reading through the answers. The thing is, when I after I did a question, I would want rather than everything in a short place, I preferred going back and referring to a variety of places and getting the information, the answer for that question from there. But then I also liked going through the video solutions because you want to hear it from a person's point of view. That it's a really good initiative that
Yes.
the
Did you enjoy
answers are
that? Like,
available.
because my goal of this is like, because when I see sometimes an average student, you are an extraordinary student, but that sometimes an average student is giving a test series, he needs that sharpness to understand. Like if you look at it from your perspective, when as a topper you look at a question, you are able to rule out a few choices and get to the answer. So our purpose of that video is to tell them that why this is not the answer, why this is not the answer, why this is the answer, so that he develops that sharpness to do this. So that is a new thing that we started in last 2 years, that we embedded that video solutions into the grand test, and that have made this year we are also starting video solution for subject wise test series as well. And we also intend to this year start a CRS, which is a booklet here, which we get in the regular course. You were in a test and discovery, where we are introducing video summaries of the chapters, so that a student who is not so brilliant, he gets an insight onto the summary. That is what we are trying to do. I also want to know that we also have a very active Facebook group where we keep interacting with the students. And did you utilize that, and how was your experience with the interactivity and the updates that teachers put? What was your experience like?
I find it. I'm really impressed by the fact that faculty are able to take out enough time to in order to. I mean, when you see the group, the number of questions that come per day are. I mean, it's so huge that I can't imagine being able to reply to all of them. And they help. I've found quite a lot of them helpful. The posts helpful in keeping myself updated. Like they do post regular updates, so I found that quite helpful. So.
Any particular teacher that you remember from your Facebook experience that was more active on the Facebook group, or updates were more creative, like?
I found Diksha ma'am's updates are quite. They're very colorful and inviting to read. And I also found PSM updates were quite useful because I mean it's hard to keep track on what is happening in the country while, especially when you're giving your internship and preparing for entrances. So
totally with you.
That was very.
And plus, I see even PSM is so dynamic. As an undergraduate, you don't realize how dynamically they're changing the goals, and the data is like is running, and so that is where the updates keep. So if you remember, one of the update that our PSM faculty had posted, that he said, till this date, this is the data, and after that, maybe
we'll find out more.
We'll find out what changes. So it's so dynamic, and even for us as teachers, it is very dynamic subject. When I was an undergraduate, I never thought PSM would be like this. It's very dynamic subject, and it's very important for competitive exams as well.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And now a lot of people have actually asked me to ask you this question, so I'm asking you this question here, that what do you eat to do and get such a rank, and how many questions did you attempt in the AIIMS exam on a more serious note?
I attempted 197 questions. Out of those, I mean, from what I know, from what I've guessed, we've gone through recall and we've recalled all those questions, and I think around 155 to 165 I would have gotten correct.
Okay.
So that was.
So around 197 was what she had attempted, and if you look back at all the interviews that we have done, most of the people in top 50 ranks have done more than 190, and that's a very good message to people appearing for further AIIMS, is that you have to, when you look at a paper which is more doable, this was a doable AIIMS exam, you have to go into the aggressive mode. If you hold back your pedal at such exam, you will not be, getting a top 50 rank. That is a message which very loud and clear. And second thing that you could understand by her statistics here is, not even the rank 1 gets everything right. So don't panic if you see something tough in the exam. And I'm sure, she would definitely be telling you some questions that she got wrong. And, even toppers get some easy questions wrong at times. So, but some people, they panic so much,
I know.
So that is her skill, that she is being very honest. She got around 160 correct, and she attempted around 197. So that is the approximately the numbers that a lot of people asked me to ask you. I also want to know from you that, like, a lot of people want to know from you, because you're a rank 1 in the most prestigious exam in the country for a doctor, and we're very proud of your achievement, and the entire DAMS family is very proud of your achievement, and we really want to know, like, how did you approach those 2 hours? Like, there is a lot of confusion about mark for review. So if you mark for review something in an exam like AIIMS, that question, if you don't uncheck it in the end, it would not be counted. So, and the time is also a challenge in the exam like AIIMS, where the questions are a little bit longer in length. So how did you manage mark for review?
Basically, we are given 3 hours. So in those 3 hours, I wanted, like, when I was planning on the day before the exam, I thought, idealistically, if I finish around 80 questions per hour, then I can have it done in 2 and something hours, so I can spend the rest of the time in review. That doesn't really work out. I think I finished around 60 questions per hour. I had 25 minutes to spare after I was done with my paper to go through around half of it a second time. So I was quite happy with my timing. I didn't leave any for mark for review. I've just, whenever I've heard my seniors talk about it, they've always said, don't mark for review. I mean, we've made mistakes, huge mistakes through that. So I just, whatever I didn't get, I just didn't mark anything for it, and I proceeded and I went back to those, and I think I finished 192 on my first round. I went around again and did 5 more. I mean, it's okay to make wild guesses. I mean, not very wild guesses. Rule out 1 or 2 and then decide from the remaining 2. Or, I mean, even if it's like not very likely, because if you have a +3 and a -1, then if you know that if you get 4, if you out of 4, if you get even 1 right, I mean, it's it's -3 and +3, so that comes out to a 0. If you get 1 out of 4 questions right after attempting 4, that's the way to
That
attempt.
becomes profitable. And another thing that I really liked about your strategies, because I always advise people before the AIIMS exam, is that it is better to mark the questions that you want for review on a rough paper instead of
Yes.
marking on a software.
Yes, sir.
So the advantage you get is just in case you're short of time, and you have already done your paper and you're not able to uncheck it. That doesn't, because I've seen people not getting time to review in the end. And those 10 questions actually make a lot of difference between a radiology seat and an anatomy seat. You can understand that. So the idea here is that in an exam like AIIMS, if you mark something for review, it is not counted. So if you don't uncheck it in the end, so it's better to mark it on a rough paper. They allow you rough paper in the exam. So that is
A
one
hall
of
ticket.
yes, on the hall ticket you can do some rough work, and so that helps you to manage your time better. So that is one of the advices that I would want to give you through this media. And I also want to know, Archana, from you was that how now this is how did you manage the last day before the exam? What did you do on the last day?
On the last day for the exam, I did forensic medicine.
All the IPCs and
All of the whole of forensic, whatever was there, I left it for the last day because I knew I wouldn't. My recall time for forensic is kind of short, so I thought it's a better idea.
So in the beginning only you had, in the middle of your preparation, you had marked forensic medicine as a volatile subject,
As a
and you
volatile
put
subject.
it in the
Yes,
end.
sir.
So there is again a message for people that a lot of people ask what to do in the last day. So here you have a topper telling you in the last day she kept a volatile subject, and that would be different for different people also. So for somebody it could be drugs, somebody it could be new drugs, somebody it could be PSM data. For her it was forensic medicine, and she knew it. And that is very important to know. Toppers know what they want to do on the last day. How did you manage the last 25 days before the exam?
Last 25 days, I was doing mainly past AIIMS papers. I think I would have finished 3.5 past AIIMS papers, not years, papers, because of the change in the pattern recently. So
I believe, and I want to ask you also that from 2015 November onwards, I think the pattern is similar. Before
Yes.
that, it was very different.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
It-
So, and again, notice this: even a topper, and she's at rank 1. In the last day, she was looking at the recent papers to get a feel of the trend. She knows the questions are not going to be repeated, but to get the feel of the trend. It was very intelligent of her again. And reason I'm taking out things from her in a very, because a lot of people have actually given me questions to ask to you, what they want to know. How many revisions did you manage before the AIIMS exam? Because a lot of people want to know the number of revisions that rank 1 does.
I did 2. I was told to do 3 by all my seniors who told me, if you want to be serious about it, do 3. But then I didn't get the time. I think I finished first revision by by September. And then from September, October, November, and half of November, I was doing grant tests and past AIIMS papers. So that was.
So did you leave the grant test for the second half of your preparation, or did you
Grant
do
test I
grant test from the
started-
beginning?
I started around August. The thing was in Jan, Feb, I didn't feel I was prepared enough. Then after that, I had my rural postings and they were busier, so I wasn't able to set out the time for it. From August onwards, I did all of them. I think I would spend around 6 days on one grant test because it takes it's even if it's 200 questions, it takes a lot of time to go through each one properly, not just the ones you got wrong. Every question.
Plus the videos that you have to listen to, and
The listening to the
references that you
videos,
cross-check and
all the
yes,
references.
yes,
So
yes.
all of them, it took quite a lot of time. I've done 8 or 9 grant tests totally.
Yes.
So
So do you feel that doing grant test, because I'm asking you because a lot of people would do what you say, because you're rank 1 and they they believe in you and they admire you. So do you believe that doing a grant test adds value to your final rank, because it's a mixed paper and a lot of people I see they keep practicing a single subject paper and they ignore the grant test? Would you advise them that okay, please practice full course papers?
I think grant tests are better. Than individual subject-wise tests because they'll give you a certain number of the amount you read for a particular subject is dependent on you. So even if you do 10 questions on that subject, you can look at those 10 questions and read around it and get so much of information.
Yeah.
So
So practicing grand tests actually improves your thinking process in a mixed exam. In the
Yes.
end, the final exam is a mixed exam. It's not a subject-wise exam. And the reason I'm asking you and I'm telling the people here is because a lot of people, they keep doing forensic medicine and they give a test, they get 90 out of 100, they're very happy. In the real exam, they don't even get those many right. So mixed paper is, practicing mixed paper was one of our key strategy as well. And now we're going a little backward. And I am now putting a line, I'm asking you to make a timetable, and what I could
Yes.
gather from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, you targeted September because you were targeting November AIIMS.
Yes.
So you targeted September for the first reading, and then you decided to do one revision, and then one more revision before November AIIMS.
I
And,
wanted to.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was your planning,
that
and
is my
you
plan.
tried your best to do this. So would you advise the same to future AIIMS November aspirants?
I'd say maybe if you can do 3 revisions, it's the best thing ever. But I don't know if you can manage it during internship, or if you're a post intern, then it may be more feasible. So 3 revisions is gold standard. I think I managed 2, but then it depends on how much in depth you read during your first revision. So second revision you can only manage so much.
And if you were suppose if you were appearing for the next May AIIMS exam and somebody is appearing for next May AIIMS exam, what would you advise? Maybe draw a line at maybe March end and then do 2 revisions, at least target 2 revisions, so to get a realistic chance.
Yes.
Because in the exam, if you don't revise, you forget some things and you don't get kind of confidence. So revision is one of the key strategies that she had planned, and her timing was actually very perfect because, as a person who's been associated with students for so long, I feel that the way she ended in September probably set the ball rolling for a excellent rank, and it ended up being the supreme rank, being the rank 1. That was the beauty of it. But if she had delayed it beyond it, she would not have been able to do the 2 cycles of revision. At first cycle, we tend to spend more time. Second cycle becomes more
We
compact.
get so less
Yes,
time.
yes, yeah, but it is a pleasure to talk to you because
Thank
we
you,
can
sir.
get a lot of insight on a topper's mind as well. And I also want to know from you, like, how do you, when you see a question, and in an exam like AIIMS, there are questions which you may not have seen before because they frame new questions.
Yes.
So then if you see a new question, and then what is your approach? That do you kind of rule out some things? What is your approach to look at a question that you've never seen before?
If I see one, then ruling out is one strategy. It depends on what the question is like. If it's a question where the answer just jumps out at you, then I don't know. I think I sometimes even forget to see the other.
But that
three.
jumps out at
It's not a
toppers.
good-
Rank 1 is able to see the answers which others are not able to see. That is what they want to know. That how could you see how did the answer jump out of the computer to you? how did
In
you manage?
there are some questions like Menkes disease they had asked. I mean, they said kinky hair, then I don't know. It's hard to even read the rest of the question. Then you go to Menkes disease. Things like that. There are things that you pick up either during your internship or prior to that when you're reading. And even in medical quizzes and all such things are asked over and over, and I'm quite fond of quizzing as well. So they get kind of ingrained into you. But then I don't think it's a good idea to not look at the other options, because you never know. Maybe the 3 others were other 3 names that you've not heard of for Menkes, and the 4th one was the answer. But
And if you have a totally unknown question, like if you have a question where you have no idea about the question and 4 choices, what is your usual strategy and what did you really do in the exam?
there are some, like for sprinkle stroller, I was very unsure. I mean, I developed my own logic for it. I got it wrong, but I think I would have got some right to make up for that one. So it was still, I don't
But
regret
you
attempting it.
try to put some logic in. Maybe it's a musculoskeletal disease.
I
Why it
think
would be associated with
maybe
this and that.
scoliosis will lead to dextrocardia.
Yeah.
So that, but it was wrong logic. It was not right
apparent
logic.
dextrocardia.
But
Maybe.
then,
It will lead to rotation on a chest. Probably, maybe.
so something, I don't know. But then it didn't work in that a particular attempt. But then it does work in many attempts. Like if you've heard anything remotely similar to that, and you're really desperate to attempt more questions, then I think just rule out 1, 2, 3 and go with your gut feeling, what it says. And
you've actually touched upon a very interesting topic here, that is gut
Gut
feeling.
feeling.
And I feel that toppers have a very good gut feeling as compared to others. And that gut feeling is like, it's not something like they're not guessing. They're just intelligently ruling out something and putting some answer, and they know that probably these 2 words are closer together, and they are able to see it what others are not able to see. And that is what, when she said that answers jumped out of the screen and she could see them. And I believe a lot of people listening to us today would want that skill, that okay, my answer should also jump out, but they are unable. So maybe that is. And second of the thing that I also want to know from you is that you've given this AIIMS exam. and before this AIIMS exam, you looked at the last 3, 4, 5 papers, whichever you felt was in the
Yes,
current
sir.
pattern, and out of them you made a strategy,
Yes.
and you maybe in your mind marked some important topics that you feel they are repeating. So suppose somebody is aspiring for the May AIIMS exam, what topics would you advise him? Like suppose if you were on their place, what topics would you advise them? Okay, please look at these topics in the last 20 days at least. Anything that you want to add on?
I have to think subject wise.
What are your guesses? Like topics, not this. If you tell somebody who's AIIMS aspirant, you tell him read biochemistry, he says I'm not wiser. Tell him topics.
Okay, so like in surgery, general surgery,
Yes,
that
I agree.
I mean, kind of things. Okay, I don't know, topic wise. I didn't read topic wise. That is the thing. That is why
You
somehow
are a
now
rank
I
one, you
know.
know everything, But we are trying to make extra. But general surgery is one of the things that she's mentioned correctly, and I would like to add here. By the time she thinks of other topics, and I give her some time. Like they ask things like trauma, burns, maybe things like Foley's, and general surgery is one of the important part of the current pattern names. And by the time she thinks another topic, I also want you to know the pattern in names is more cyclical. So sometimes they suddenly change, like they changed in November 2015. So it might change in a later exam. So it's not like that you leave everything. When they say an important topic, it's just that you be sure that you don't miss out on this, but it doesn't mean that you leave everything else.
I think IPCs when it comes to forensic medicine, IPCs, except they didn't come in
IPC.
this one,
Yes.
but then it comes
Usually
in every
it
other
does, yes.
every other AIIMS.
And that is why she
Then-
had kept IPCs for the last day. Always remember.
No, I think many people would have used that strategy.
But you're
IPCs
rank
in
one.
the last
We need
day.
to know from you.
Then things like like tuberous neurofibromatosis, tuberous sclerosis, those kind of things. I don't know,
Neurocutaneous
they're very hard for
disorders,
entrances.
syndromes.
Those then neurocutaneous syndromes. I mean, then neonatology. Peds like no entrance is complete without reading neonatology. Even if you don't read the rest of peds, just read neonatology and go. That is like more than enough. Then peds
Infections as well.
infections,
I think. Infections increasingly getting
infections,
important.
TB, dengue, and all. I mean, what plagues our country? I think they'd like to ask for entrances. So those things. Then in mycology.
Yes.
I think this entrance was. I think mycology is. I don't know. There were so many questions on mycology. So I think then. So I mean, the thing is, some of these areas are areas where the content of the topic is not vast, but then high yield. There are so many questions on such small areas. Then then I don't know. They're not coming to me now. I think 1 week has been.
No, she's already in the relaxed mood, and she's no longer going to give any other competitive exam in this year. So other aspirants can now relax. Now she's rank one, and she's all the choices in the world to pick up from the premier institute in the country. Now we also want to know what is the personality trait that you have that makes Archana the winner that she is, the high achiever that she is, consistent high achiever that she is. What is your personality trait? Are you? What is it that are you very inquisitive? Are you very curious? What is it that or are you very hardworking? What is it that you get this kind of a rank?
No, I feel like I've enjoyed my MBBS really. I mean I feel like I think that despite PG prep being here during most of this year, I feel like I've gained from it so much because reading back through ANAT and everything, putting together what things that you didn't figure out about ANAT at that time when you were in first year, when you were supposed to read it. I mean, I like that during this one short year, I got a shot at redoing all the things that I wasn't able to do before. I've gained so much through it, and combined with internship, it was actually, I'd say I was happy with. I didn't find it that as much of a burden to prepare for.
Would you say that
entrance.
you enjoy studying and you enjoy being a doctor, and probably that helped you enjoy what you do?
I enjoy what I
So
do.
that is your trait, that maybe you enjoy what you do, so everything else falls into place. So again, it's like a well said thing that a lot of people say that either you enjoy what you do, or start enjoying what you're doing now. If you're looking at it like a burden, it will become a burden. If you're looking at it something like you enjoy, like I felt when I was a intern, I felt that when I read physiology for again in internship, I suddenly said, and they have written all medicine, and why did I not understand this in first prof at all? In first prof, you don't understand the value of those preclinical lines, and when you read them after knowing medicine and surgery, suddenly it's eye-opening. And that Genong makes, they
It
have
makes so
written,
much sense
they have
later.
written the entire medicine in the Genong, and that like nobody knows in first prof. First prof it's like a burden, then you realize it's not a burden. So maybe she loves what she does, and our country has a very great future doctor in her. I also want now if you can say something motivating to future aspirant that can make them rank 1 if they listen to you. Anything that you feel that if you had heard that would have motivated you. If you want to say something to them, all future aspirants.
I feel like PG entrance is a combination of all the of not just of your entire MBBS, of whatever you gain from the coaching you attend, of whatever you do during internship. It's all that put together, especially AIIMS entrance. It's a combination of all of these. So utilize what resources you have. I mean, to the best that you can. Don't just mechanically go through anything, without thinking just for the sake of finishing it off. It's about using it to your advantage, and that will serve you not just for PG, for everything else also ahead.
And may I ask you which branch that you would want to take now, or are you still thinking about it?
I am still thinking about it because I'm very passionate about internal medicine. It's one of my favorite. It's been my favorite subject through most of MBBS. I'm also thinking a little bit about ophthalmology because actually my mom's also an ophthalmologist, and I find
So
the
you have
subject
great genes
quite.
also. Maybe that also helped in forming your mind.
No, I'm thankful for my mom's genes.
Yeah,
Really.
yes.
I'm thinking about that as well. I want to. I think I take 2 weeks and decide between the two. So
Yes, I am sure you have all the time in the world and you have all the choices. Would you recommend DAMS to your juniors?
I would recommend. I'd recommend.
Did you enjoy your
following.
experience with us?
Yes, sir.
And we actually loved teaching you, and it was
Thank
a
you so
pleasure to
much.
teach you. And it is like an honor actually to be with you today. And I again would take this opportunity to congratulate once more. And I'm sure the people listening to you today will get that motivation that they look forward to. And I'm sure they have gotten a very good set of tips regarding the subjects to read, how to manage revision, how to manage the last 25 days, when to target if you're targeting as an intern, November AIIMS. And they have gotten the exam approach. I personally feel that between equal students, like if there are 10 students who are equal, only one can get rank 1, and that rank 1 is determined by the day how they manage the exam day. These 10 people are almost equal in knowledge, but one of them has a better exam skill. And that is Archana Sasi today for you. She knew how to look at the answers, how to look at, even if she did not know, like she was very honest by telling you that she did not know about Sprengel's shoulder, but she tried to kind of figure out that this is kind of a disorder, what would happen, and that thinking process you need to develop. And I would sign off by saying that if you try to apply that thinking process in your routine tests, then only you will be able to do in the real exam. It doesn't come all of a sudden on the real exam. And with this, I again take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Archana for her exemplary success, and I wish her all the best for her future career. I am sure whatever branch she will opt for, she will become one of the best in it. I am sure the country will get a great doctor with her in future. And at DAMS, we are very proud of her achievement. Heartiest congratulations once more. Congratulations.
Best of luck to everyone.
Yes, that's a very positive thing to say. And I'm sure your best of luck would mean a lot to many people around. Thank you very much.